1. Go.
Well, hello everyone. I hope everyone's enjoying their evening. We're going to have a very unique discussion about E3. During E3, there was this unique couple of, I suppose, gaming experiences that people were able to observe. The one we'll be talking about is The Last of Us, and
oh my god.
yeah,
you're going with the lesbian kiss, aren't you?
Last of Us and Battlefield 2 or Battlefield 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So
Battlefield 2
to
came out a
begin with,
long ass time ago.
yeah, exactly. Battlefield 1 kind of paved the way for this kind of weird SJW stuff. Basically, it added more black soldiers and on teams that didn't really have that many black soldiers, even though they kind of ignored the fact the Ottoman Empire was like mostly black people.
In fact, there's a ton of white soldiers on the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, which is really weird because it was mostly blacks and very brown people. But so that kind of began this sort of weird idea about it. It had some minor backlash, but again, the gaming was so unique for the time that people really just sort of let it flow, I suppose. They had decent sales, pretty good sales actually. And so this time around, they decided to go even further, and they included I guess it would be a amputee sniper. Female sniper that's able to take down tanks, crawl as fast as tanks, just your general Mary Sue character in the preview. And people were mixed feelings about it, upset about it, at the historical inaccuracies. And for the Last of Us...
The historical inaccuracies or the fact that EA SJW'd it up?
Well, a little of both. I mean, it depends on your argument defense, but yeah. And then as for Last of Us, before we were able to see any decent gameplay, and we've been thirsty, waiting, desperate.
Did you even play the original Last of Us?
Of course
okay.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the lesbian vibe from Ellie while playing that? No. How?
What do you mean?
How? How did you not get that vibe from her? Hell, the first Last of Us had a fully gay character in it. Bill.
The first Last of Us had fully gay character Bill.
Yeah, remember Bill? You said you played it, right?
Yeah, this was like years ago. Who's Bill?
Okay, remember that crazy, doomsday prepper guy?
Okay.
That you meet about, 4 hours into the game or so, 2 to 4 hours, depending on how quick you are at playing.
What did he do for you?
He's the one that gets you the car.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
What about him?
Yeah. In fact, there's this whole scene where Ellie's sitting in the car and going through his dirty magazines, and they're all Playgirl stuff and things like that,
Yeah.
And she's kind of that's gross.
Right. And so when
or
it comes down
in
to
the whole DLC that was released for that game, where her and this friend of hers had a huge bond in it. Now, I can't say I played it, so I don't know if there's full-out lesbian moments in it. But
there was some lesbian kissing, I believe, in the that one. But here's the thing.
Okay, so what was the big throw in the dark here about this character?
Which one?
What was the curveball that they threw at you with this one? I mean, it's exactly what you expected her to be.
Last of Us, right?
Yes, Ellie.
They made us watch this weird lesbian kiss scene, and before we were able to see any gameplay at all.
Well, they're just trying to get all those horny young boys riled up first. Heck, it's
they're
the
using
best part of the whole or the whole E3 conference.
So then you got to look at it a couple different ways. So I take it your perspective was there's nothing wrong with that?
Yeah, of course not. No. Okay. They always do pre-rendered trailers before they show the actual gameplay. That's not even anything new.
Okay, so lesbian kissing in a pre-rendered gameplay or trailer is nothing new?
Well, that might be a bit new. I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of any other instances off the top of my head.
Why would you point out the part that is totally normal when the whole discussion and issue is about the lesbian thing? So,
what do you mean?
It's a little disingenuous for you to say, oh, yeah, no, they always play pre-rendered trailers during E3.
They do, that's what it was. So the problem you have with it is the fact that it was a lesbian kiss. What if she'd been kissing a regular dude? Would that have been out of place for you?
No, that it's also been irritating, because the main problem I have is that we had to sit through this weird, disjointed scene, and then
It
going
sets
to
the
game.
tone for the game. I mean,
really?
given
What tone
that
was that?
the small town, party going on at the end of the universe, the end of the times or whatever, and they're still finding time to have a good life, And then they go into the middle of her shitty life, and then it comes out again back at her good part of her life, And
So,
I bet you it's setting up to where the game is actually going to begin with that trailer, or the trailer that we saw there, the pre-rendered part. And then shit's going to go wrong in this little town, poor dunk town that they've set up and living off the grid in or whatever. And it sounds like some kind of cult's going to come in. I'm not going to get too much into specifics, but I really think that's where they're going.
It's not like you're a developer or anything, but no, I get what you're saying. There's clearly some sort of cult thing. But here's the thing. So you got the lesbian kiss. And do you know what the next scene after the lesbian kiss was?
Oh, yeah. Murdering like crazy.
They're like, hugging for the lesbian kiss thing. And then she's actually slitting someone's throat. So I don't know why they couldn't go with the gameplay, right? And then go into the lesbian stuff if that's what they felt. I don't know why they felt the need to show this particular aspect. So in the particular scene, do you know what's happening? Do you remember anything? The lesbian kissing.
They're at a dance, and they're kind of she gets over to the girl, and well, first she's talking with the girl about how her ex-boyfriend or whatever and all this stuff, like normal teenage talk, and then they go out there and she's all like, "You're the most beautiful girl here," and she's like, "What?" And then they kiss,
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a key feature in there that I all the reviews that I've read are just sort of glowing praise about it and how hot it was and how the sexual tension was amazing and blah, blah. The one thing that they kind of miss is that the person that she's talking to begin with is the boyfriend that the girl is talking about. So,
yes.
So the situation is these two people are on patrol. They're young people. They're on whatever defense force they have going on there. Yeah. Clearly, I keep forgetting her name, but the main character chick, what's her name?
Ellie.
Ellie is tight with their leader, who is the guy she was rolling with before. So he's settled down, created this community or whatever.
Yeah.
And so she's kind of like a princess in this regard, or like second in command, or just really important, right? And really skilled at what she does. She's also immune to being.
Yeah.
Also immune to being bitten. So
she's
special. She's talking. She's got like a special prestige status, and she's talking with this boy, right? And the boy's all like, "Hey, have you heard, or has she talked to you or anything like that?" And she's like, "No, I have. She hasn't spoken anything." The girl they're talking about comes over and pulls Ellie to the dance floor and kisses her. So what does that say to you about that particular scene? Why was the lesbian kiss in there?
Well, obviously this other girl had a crush on her.
So, okay, keep in mind, the boy and that girl are not talking to each other. She comes over and she will not talk to him. She ignores him. And he's wondering if she said anything. Like if she's over it yet. If she's done being upset with him.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? She's upset with him.
Yes.
She grabs the girl.
Yes.
They go to the dance floor. And they kiss.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm getting at?
No.
Jealousy.
Yeah. Jealousy. Okay, so the kiss was for jealousy. Let's say that is the case. What does that make a damn bit of difference?
Okay, no one picked that up. Everyone's just like, oh, lesbian kiss scene, progressive, good, nice. The substance of that scene, in that scene, contains a bunch of information that is completely irrelevant to anything that we know about the characters, other than the previous character, who was not even in the preview, was just mentioned as being the leader. That information had nothing to do with the rest of the trailer. It was substance. The substance of the entire thing was like.
Hold on. What was the previous character you're talking about? Are you talking about Joel?
Yeah, Joel.
He died in the last game.
He died in the last game?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
He died at the end of the game. That's how the game ended.
They keep saying your old man.
Yeah, he died in the last game, man.
Hey, look at the trailer again. The boy that she's talking to says your old man.
It must be someone else because, Joel died in the last game.
Hey, maybe that's I have no idea.
Yeah.
News to me, but it doesn't really matter because the point of the matter is that whether she's the single new character or not, that particular scene had nothing to do with the rest of the trailer.
I think it was more setting up the tone, you know, saying that basically the females kissing, saying that this society is even better than our current society is what they're trying to get at, you know? That
Right,
this society that they have created
problem.
has surpassed what they were doing before, you know?
Right, and that's the problem because that society has not surpassed what we've been doing before. She's actively murdering other human beings.
Well, I think there's going to be a downfall after that. I don't think this is her going out searching for people. I think they're going to end up attacking their city. And I think that's kind of what we're alluding to in this trailer. Is that things were good, things go to shit later on, you know?
Yes. And the funny thing is that most of the trailers that I've seen, so I've seen 2 trailers, so I don't know if there's any more out there.
I can think of 2 off the top of my head, so.
Okay, so there's the one that has Ellie, and then there's another one that has another
girl.
2 characters.
Yeah.
3, well, I think 3 characters, but
something like that. Yeah, you're right, because there was the leader of the group, the leader's little bitch, and then the girl that they saved. And it was like all women, too, right?
That's my point, yes.
Yeah.
So it's going beyond the point where it's like we want strong female women to be in this game, and it's going to the point of like ridiculousness. Because, for example, this is a survival situation, and I don't know if you noticed, but the one that they were hanging was kind of Jack Diesel. So maybe they're transgender.
Yeah, that could be the case. You never know.
Possible.
Maybe that's why the person was being hung.
Except for the part where the hormone therapy would have ended at the end of the world. So that's, yeah. So also, if they're starving, then that very few people would have that musculature except for men. But anyways, doesn't really matter because the point of the matter is that they're just trying to promote an agenda. And that's what's irritating. So it's not that they were lesbians and they were kissing. It was that I know what they're doing. They're making me watch this to show that, so they can tell everyone in the audience, hey, look how progressive we are. Look how good boys we are.
Look how progressive Sony is and Naughty Dog, and we've got it. All right, well, let's take this over to the Battlefield thing because I think this is going to come into the same place. I think your overall argument is that right now gaming doesn't have enough realism in it. Is that what you're trying to get at here?
No.
Okay. Then your argument is that games that are not known for being realistic at all, even Battlefield in this situation. No, I can name tons of instances. Like Battlefield 1, which you mentioned earlier, had assault rifles that weren't invented till 30 years later.
That was when it started falling apart.
The game was like that from the beginning, though. I mean, so
What about Battlefield 3?
What about Battlefield 3? That was modern day technology.
Yeah, very realistic modern day technology with very detailed information. Like, I could make a weapon that was exactly like the weapon I had in the military in Battlefield. With all the kit, all the gear, all the same stuff. So
Battlefield 3 was extremely detailed, but Battlefield 4 even took it into that direction.
Yeah, I know.
By adding more science fiction elements into it.
But realistic, within the bounds of technology.
Battlefield 2142 did the exact same thing, obviously, because it took place 200 years later. Battlefield Hardline had a lot of bullshit stuff in it. Again, 1942 and Battlefield 3 are really the only two that I can think of that were pretty realistic.
Yes, so you're saying that the series has had realism in it, and it's been their most successful titles.
Well, their most successful title would probably be Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1, you're talking about the one at World War 1?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's their highest selling one.
Okay, well, you've made the claim. Please prove your thing.
All right.
Because keep in mind, you have the sales of like years afterwards to compete with them. I mean, it's entirely possible. I don't know. Or are we comparing opening weekend sales or opening week sales?
Let's just see. Oh, that's worst to best. That isn't sales. Well, here. I think it made a... I'm pretty sure it's on a best-selling list somewhere. One of them is. Could be Battlefield 4. I guarantee you 1942 and Vietnam are not on the list. Yeah, no. They ain't gonna be on the top 10. Shit. See what Wiki can tell me. Battlefield. Alright, Battlefield 3 seems like it's the highest selling one.
So that's the one I said.
Yes.
The one that's the realist.
Yes. Which it still has some things that aren't really real. I mean, shit, you can take out a tank with 2 C4s.
It depends on how you do it. And what kind of tank.
Or, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of instances. I played a shit ton of Battlefield 3, and I'm trying to think of any top of my head, but I only ever played the support class, so C4 was my best experience. But either way, I'm saying that there's not complete 100% accuracy, and I would not expect accuracy out of every single Battlefield game, especially after I start seeing a robotic arm.
Are you familiar with seeing or what a straw man is?
Yeah, I have an idea, yes.
Okay, so a straw man argument is when you provide an argument that was not made and then defeat that argument. So I never said 100% realism, okay?
Okay.
So what I'm saying
is... so is the robotic arm bothering you more than the fact that a woman's on the cover?
It's a little both, actually. The robotic arm and the woman
Let's say, okay, the robotic arm thing is kind of throwing you for sideball here, or curveball. God, I hate using fucking phrases. I should stop doing that. But, I mean, compared to another game like Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein...
You're serious? Wolfenstein?
I'm just saying, Wolfenstein, the new ones, the last 2 that came out, 3 if you count the New World Order or whatever, have sold amazingly well for Bethesda.
Right.
And
because it's fantasy.
Yes, and I'm saying... Probably what's going on here is Battlefield looked at that and said, you know what, maybe we should add some of that shit into our game too.
So don't you think they would owe it at least to the customers and the fans to say, we decided to go into a direction that's more fictional?
Yeah, I would think that'd be nice, yes. It's at least acknowledge.
You know what they said instead?
Oh, I do. If you don't accept women in Battlefield, then don't buy it.
Which is not the problem. The problem is not women in Battlefield. The problem is you've touted your series as a series that attempts realism, even in Battlefield 1, despite the racial sort of weirdness that they put on. The weaponry was legitimate. So there were trench weapons. There were, except for, there was a rifle that wasn't, a couple of weapons that they added because there really wasn't a lot of variety. But there are many weapons that you can find.
Trench warfare in the game Battlefield 1 is very different than real world trench warfare too. But
right, but there
they touted it as a major selling point, and to be honest, it didn't really feel that different than Battlefield 4 did.
No, I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm saying that there are weapons and armor and all that other stuff. They did do a bit of research. They even have like little weird ass history lessons. But the point of the matter is they, despite their sort of foibles, they never indicated that they weren't trying to be historically accurate. No, you know what I mean? Like,
well, let's move this on to women in Battlefield in World War II then, because the robotic arm is a problem. All right, and maybe it's just to help sell the DLC thing. That's what I'm assuming the robotic arm stuff might be more about than it is actually storyline based stuff, but I could be wrong. But I expect that's going to be more cosmetics you can get just to look cool and have your characters look cool. But, alright, so women during World War II. Well, one of the main storylines is going to be based around a resistance fighter. And this is something that happened quite a bit during World War II.
Which resistance?
Oh, I have no idea.
Just resistance fighter? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, shit, I don't think they've said more than that.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem.
But during the resistance, resistance during World War II from countries like France. Yeah, French. All right? It's a freaking trope at this point that a woman leads the show in French resistance movements. I mean, man, you can find many movies that have this whole same story concept. You didn't see people freaking out then.
Yeah, because the series that had the trope in it weren't touted as ones that would be accurate. or at least slightly more accurate than the tropes.
Yes, but most of the resistance fighters for World War II were women because they were best at getting information.
That is not true.
That is totally true.
You're saying most of the resistance fighters were women.
Most, maybe most is a bit of a big word there, but there was a very large amount of them. Mostly hookers, prostitutes, women that ran speakeasies and things like that.
If you are including resistance fighters as people that passed on information,
I am.
So not people who fought, like
Fine.
actually.
You want people who fought women in Russia?
Yeah. Okay. So you're talking about Are you talking about the women who flew the planes, or the women who were snipers?
The women who helped protect the towns and things like that as Russia was being invaded.
A vast minority.
Yeah, everybody actually. Every single city in Russia that was invaded at that point were given strict orders to protect their town. By all means, with everybody. It wasn't just men on the battlefield in those situations. In fact, it was less men than women because most of the men were at other battlefields at the time. It was mostly women in those homes that were being invaded.
Okay, so you're suggesting that mostly women defended Russia.
When it came to those city invasions, like the towns being invaded and stuff as they're walking through, yes.
Okay. How would you propose that the Russian women would defend their homes?
Usually with their husband's guns.
The husband's guns?
Yes.
And where is the husband?
Off at war.
And where is his gun?
Well, his state-issued gun, but with the guns that they had in their houses.
So you're saying Russia, notorious for having a shortage of weapons, would tell people who had guns to say...
I'm saying people left their guns at home. Look, this is not something that's unreported in history. It's not something I'm just pulling out of thin air. This is a real thing.
Okay.
I mean, geez, anybody who ran from these cities or anyone who surrendered were ordered by the Russian government to be shot on sight. So these women weren't leaving or anything. They were sitting there holding fort at home.
Okay, well, you should be able to find an example of that, right?
I would assume so. Can't say I prepared for that, you bastard.
Well, you're the one who's spatting a factual claim, so it should be easy.
Definitely snipers.
Yes, definitely snipers. Never said there wasn't women snipers.
See, that's all the shit I'm gonna get, man.
Yeah, exactly. And why do you think that is?
Alright, hold on. Soviet women during World War II. Let's use Wiki as a source, because I want to spend an hour, so if it's wrong, you can fuck yourself.
Okay.
Soviet women played an important role in World War II, whose Eastern Front was known as the Great Patriotic War in the Soviet Union. While most toiled in industry, transport, agriculture, and other civilian roles, working double shifts, blah, 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 and increased military protection, a sizable number of women served in the army. The majority were medical units. There were 800,000 women who served in the Soviet forces during the war, which is roughly 3% of the total military personnel. The number of women in the Soviet...
Could you repeat? Could you read that again?
3% of the total military personnel.
3%? Okay, 3%. Okay.
Yes.
So was it 30? No, 3%. Okay, that's right.
3%. So, okay, all right. Let's just go this route then. I'll lay all that stuff and take it away for now, even though that's totally true. But as I said, all I'm going to find is actual people fighting during the war right now.
It's a mystery. Okay, yeah.
It's not a mystery. It's a real thing. People had to defend their homes. What, you think the Russians just walked in and took these cities? Or the Germans just walked in and took these cities?
Yeah. I think that if they didn't leave... So, scorched earth, are you familiar with this tactic?
Yeah.
It's when you pull back and you destroy everything.
Yeah.
That's the tactic they employed most of the time.
Well, anyways, as for snipers, there was 2,484 in total.
2,484 in an army of how many?
About 20 million, I think.
Okay, so then you're supposed to be suggesting that it is reasonable that this.
Hey, I'm suggesting it's as reasonable as, you know, half the army being white in the Ottoman Empire during World War One.
Which is very unreasonable.
I'm just saying, okay? So, I don't know why we're starting to get mad about this now that it's women.
Okay, because it's wrong. You have promised something and you have failed to deliver. I mean, not you, but EA. They have promised something. They have built something.
Look, you want to bitch about EA with Battlefield series or EA in general. There's a ton of things to complain about here. Like,
you're saying more legitimate.
More legitimate. I mean, I don't even think this SJW shit is a reason why the game's doing bad on pre-orders. I really don't.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think Battlefront 2 is the biggest reason.
Go on.
Battlefront 2, yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with the Battlefront series, but it's a Star Wars game.
It's pretty lame.
Star Wars game, yeah. And it was...
If I remember, the controversy of the Battlefront 2, and again, I didn't play any of them, but...
Yeah.
They started to adopt a model of pay to play.
They started doing that well before then, but yeah.
Oh, did? Okay.
Yeah,
well,
Battlefield 3 had pay-to-play features in it, too.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, either way.
And a shit ton of DLC for Battlefield 3, which was paid for DLC, which was annoying as shit. But Battlefront 2 specifically incorporated the loot boxes, where basically you could pay and get a box, and you could open it up and get new weapons and things like that, you know? Completely randomized gambling, as some people would call it. All right. After they kind of hinted at that some of their bad practices were going to stop because there's so much hell about doing the similar thing in Battlefront 1 and doing shit in like Battlefield 4 with the Battle Pass and Battlefield 3 again with the shit ton of DLC every time they release a new map. Here's $20. You got to pay us $20 to be able to play this new map back then. And shit like that. They finally said we were going to stop all our bad practices. And also, Battlefield 1 had no campaign in it. Or Battlefront 1 had no campaign in it.
Damn.
And so they're like, oh, we're throwing a campaign in, too. And everybody's like, oh my god, the campaign. In fact, I even fell for the campaign thing. I bought the game. Just for the campaign.
That's embarrassing for you.
Well, I had like a, 10-hour trial. I had a 2-hour trial. It's a 10-hour trial, but you could really only play like 2 hours of the game, and after that it'll lock you off from the single player content. So I'm like, wow, I'm really enjoying this single player stuff. Let me go ahead and pay $60 so I can play this and enjoy it. 2 hours later I beat it.
Oh man.
Yeah. So shady practices like that were a big fucking issue with that game. So that alone I think is reason enough. There was other issues too. I'm trying to remember some of them right now, or at least try to find them in my fucking giant ass notes here. Oh yeah, the other big deal is that a bunch of other big games are coming out around the same time period. Red Dead Redemption's coming out. Call of Duty Black Ops 25 or whatever the fuck it is at this point. 4, I don't fucking know. And Fallout 76 are all coming out within a month of each other. Here in October and November.
Okay, and, so you're saying...
I'm saying that people... Well, first off, Call of Duty always sells better than Battlefield. Because it's more palatable to most other players. Battlefield's a bit more of a difficult game. Not as many people like to play it. Because
that's a fair point.
Yeah, it's just harder. It's harder to get good at it,
And do you know
Call
why
of
else?
Because it's more realistic.
That's right, because it was more realistic, yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for us to get to there.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So, those games are all coming out at the same time. Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be the biggest seller in October. No fucking doubt about that. Followed by Call of Duty. Followed by probably fucking Fallout 76. And then I bet you Battlefield will be number 4 on that list. Which isn't bad. I just
ran out of money.
I think that's a big factor here. I think we can't ignore that fact. Is what I'm getting at. I don't think people are not buying it because of the SJW stuff. I mean, hell, I think most anti-SJW people left with the whole Mass Effect controversy.
Oh well, I mean that'd be interesting because As I understand it, anti-SJW folks basically just don't buy things they don't want to play anymore when they're just shoved down your throat too much. So if you want to have your SJW message, your game better be amazing, because the standard that we've been seeing so far is that you signal that you have SJW intentions or you're virtue signaling in your gameplay, then it's going to be a shitty game because that's all you cared about. That was proven by, what was it, Andromeda? Mass Effect Andromeda?
Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda.
They didn't even finish it, and they put it out there.
Again, another one of my buys.
Yeah.
And I loved Mass Effect Andromeda. I
Wow,
really
that's
did. Yeah. In fact, I was really pissed off to find out that they weren't going to make any DLC for it.
Do you know why?
Yeah, because it didn't sell that well.
Yep, and apparently everyone was pissed off at all the backlash they were getting at how shitty the models looked.
Yeah, I got over that pretty quickly. I guess I'm not as picky about those things as others. There's things about Mass Effect Andromeda I fucking loved.
Low standards, that's also another word for it.
Yeah, fuck off. No, it was more fun. It never felt like it was this, like, I love the original Mass Effect series. Mass Effect 2 is probably my second favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
But this Mass Effect Andromeda came out at a time period when games were dark. Like, dark as fuck. And then especially the Mass Effect series. The first 3 games, dark as shit. And then they bring in Mass Effect Andromeda, where it's a shit ton of stuff's on the line, but these people that we're having as our main character are kids. I mean, the main characters you play, they're twin siblings, and they're like 18 years old. You know, they realize that there's a lot needed out of them, but they're not the badass shepherd character from the original game. They're, you know, a couple of kids who had it easy most of their lives, you know? So they're making jokes and stuff along the way. And that's something that went away. You know what I mean? Or that I think a lot of people hated, but it really spoke to me. I mean, shit. They make Star Wars jokes in the game.
Okay, well, that's cool. But I'm sure that the story would have probably translated better if they remembered to render the gun not backwards.
Yeah, or those face scenes where they're like...
Or the T-posing.
Yeah.
So... You may have an amazing story.
I had a good experience with it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters more than the story. I thought the characters...
Lower standards, I understand.
The characters were extremely well developed.
Yeah. When I spend $60, I want the game to work. That's going to be my minimum standard.
Well, shit, you're buying from the wrong publisher if you're buying from EA.
I don't buy from EA. That's part of the reason. But, so, specifically dealing with Battlefield... So you're suggesting that the SJW thing has very little to do with it. Specifically, this guy saying, don't buy the game if you've got a problem with women.
Correct. I really doubt
he's
that.
Fired.
Oh, yeah, he didn't get fired. There's some talks that he may not have been fired, but he actually quit. He received a very large bonus 6 months ago. Okay. And there was also talk of wanting him back. I'm trying to think of his name. Okay. Do you happen to know his name off the top of your head?
Oh, shit. I don't know. But it's probably in the article that I sent you.
Oh, great. All right. Give me a second here. Let's see.
It's in the chat. Also, there's pictures of the women that are in the Battlefield game. There's going to be many women.
The 16 video games that put players through extremely difficult... Sorry, this must be a different article you're referring to.
Is the most recent one Battlefield 5 pre-order tracks behind Call of Duty? I just put it in the chat.
Hold on. Yeah, I got it. Okay. So what is this guy's name? So where do you see a robotic arm at?
I don't see a robotic arm. It was in the preview.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
And again, it's not a robotic arm. It's a prosthetic. But it's still... technically, it's a mechanism. So if you want to call it a robotic arm, fine.
It ain't that important either way. Call of Duty Clowns, yay. I do not see the guy's name in here. I wish I could look via NBC. Cohen, the same folks.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. Patrick Sutherland?
Patrick
Yeah, it's literally the second sentence in this paragraph. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Patrick Sutherland.
Yep.
Why?
There's a link in the article if you want to click on it.
Hold on.
Did you happen to notice that the pre-order sales are behind by 85%?
That's what they're saying, but that may not be quite true. And to be honest, it wouldn't shock me that much.
So, who do you think is reporting that?
Where do you see this in the second paragraph, you said? Cohen, the same folks who first projected Battlefield 1, so this is usually bad for a series. Man, I
okay,
must...
do you see right below the picture of the woman?
Yeah.
Okay. The sentence, the last sentence, if you look at the last sentence...
EA CEO, abrupt departure from EA. Patrick Sunderland, current Chief Designer Officer for Electronic Arts, will be stepping down after 12 years of the company, besides being in charge of DICE, blah, blah, blah. So he is stepping down. He's not being fired, but he could be forced to step down. So shared in a recent open letter noting Patrick has been a trusted business partner and a great friend, and his inspiring leadership has had an outstanding blah, 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 normal shit that you'd hear. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've heard that he had another job already lined up or something. That Angry Joe video you linked to, he explained some of that. So,
yeah, which was speculation.
Yes.
And the point of the matter is that you think that there is no correlation between him saying "don't buy a product" and that product not buying.
I don't think so. No. First off, I think most people who buy video games don't even pay that close attention to this shit. I think most people who buy video games see a new Battlefield trailer and like, oh, yeah, that's awesome. Or, oh, yeah, I'm buying Call of Duty.
Really? That's amazing. So you're saying that most people see a Battlefield trailer and they just say they're going to buy it?
Or they're not. Or they'll wait for the reviews. Or they'll buy it 6 months later.
Do you think they talk to anybody about it? Like, they keep it a secret?
I think people do talk to their friends, yes.
You think they research it, like see what's going on with
overall, the gaming community does not really have a huge effect on sales, is what I'm trying to get at.
The gaming community does not have a huge effect on gaming
like the
sales.
Hardcore gamers. Because there's such
gamers,
a subsection of the sales.
Do you think it's just the hardcore gamers that care about this?
I think that's it. I think it's only the hardcore gamers who are making a decision one way or another based on this.
How many games do you think I play?
I don't know. I would probably say you play about 10 hours a game a week or so. I wouldn't call you a hardcore gamer, not at all.
I don't have any physical games. I have an Xbox. I just buy a game and then I'll be done with it and I sell it. So I don't have any games.
Yes.
Like I just play what interests me at the time.
Well, either way, I would not call you a hardcore gamer in any sense of the term.
I know about this.
Were you going to buy this game one way or another?
I was tempted. I played Battlefield 1. I played Battlefield 4 and 3.
Did you buy any of those?
Yeah, I bought Battlefield 3 and 4. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
I did not buy Battlefield 1.
Why did you not buy Battlefield 1?
It was irritating. I got to play it at Tyler's place, and it just seemed like another, I don't know, cookie cutter sort of game.
And I think that's what's going to be a big hit on this game too. Is it is just going to be another cookie cutter game. I think the fact that they're adding in a battle royale mode might help it out a little bit, but not very much. You know what I mean?
The inhibiting factor that makes it not a cookie cutter game is the fact that in those cookie cutter games they didn't have women randomly placed. Like,
or at all.
That takes you out of the immersion. That, oh wait, hold on a second. Everything I know about the history, everything I've seen about movies.
Even in Hardline, I don't think you could play a woman.
No, most games you can't play a woman because most games are about war, where there are not very many.
Hardline isn't about war.
What do you mean?
Battlefield Hardline isn't a war game. It's a police game.
Oh, is it the one about drugs?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea about that game.
Yeah, it was bad. So don't feel bad.
I'm specifically referring to games about war.
Yeah.
Most games about war don't have very many women in it because in real life, most women don't want to be a participant in war.
That's true.
So I don't understand. See, this is the problem. Okay, everyone's all like, "Oh, well, you're a sexist because you don't want this woman in the game." No, I'm just a realist because there weren't that many women in that time period, and in reality, there aren't that many women interested in doing that kind of thing. And in reality, there's not that many women who can do that kind of thing.
What's one of the classes that you can play in Battlefield? Can you name a couple of classes?
The assault, the support, the medic.
What was that? What was that last one?
Medic?
Yeah. What was the women's biggest thing during the Russian?
They were nurses.
No, they were medics. It specifically said medics.
Right. Medic, okay, during that time period meant several different things. Okay?
So our understanding of the war here in Western civilization is literally Europe versus us, or, Germany versus Europe, not Germany going into Russia. Russia was a very different war than what it was in Europe on the east, on the western side of things.
I will grant you that, but I don't understand what that would have to do with anything.
I think what I'm trying to get at here is there was a lot more women involved, especially on the Russian side of things, than you would imagine. Again, 2,500, that means every single major battle there's going to be a woman medic out there, or a woman sniper or something. And heck, nowadays, during, in the Middle East, most of the snipers there are women. At least a good portion.
Really? How would you know this?
I've heard it from a few buddies of mine who were down there and heard the stories. I don't know. You were down there, too. You would probably know a thing or two about this. Apparently, women are better shots than men. About women, when it comes to sniping.
That may be arguable. I have no idea. I've never seen women compete with men in a sniper competition.
So, I don't know. This is just what I've heard. And I've seen a video of it, too, of this one woman.
That may be entirely true.
During the Syrian thing.
Let's just say, for example, women are better snipers than men. Mm-hmm. Okay. The person who holds the record for the most kills with a sniper rifle, is that a man or a woman?
A man.
The person who has the longest shot with a sniper rifle, is it a man or a woman?
I'm assuming a man also.
Okay. So they may be the best snipers, but there's no evidence to support that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. So one might argue that they're not doing that because of sexism. Like have you ever heard of the patriarchy?
Yeah, I know what the patriarchy is.
Okay, so the patriarchy is basically inhibiting women and has inhibited women throughout history from doing stuff, right? So the question is, if EA is actually being for women, why wouldn't they report on the patriarchy?
Oh, I'm sure if you gave them a chance, they'd do it.
But I mean, the funny thing is, because if you do this revisionist history, there's going to be the threat of
no. Here's what I think EA is doing. Okay? It's one of two things, and it could be a mix of both. They're trying to include more races, more sexes, and things like that.
More amputees, don't forget that.
Yeah, and shit like that, to appeal to a broader audience, get more women playing the game. That could be very possible. But what I think it more has to do is they want to get people like you riled up so that they're in the headlines every day leading up to it.
That's great, but they've inspired me not to buy their game. And
yeah, but they're also inspiring another half of the population to buy the game.
Where is that other half? Because as we've seen with the pre-order sales, that half should have been represented. You just said
I'm not saying it's going to work.
You just said, using the logic that you've provided, that it would inspire people who wouldn't normally buy the game to buy the game. That means that the pre-order sales should not reflect anything close to this.
Well, first off, this hasn't been a big controversy until recently. I mean, sure, a few people were bitching about it during EA when they showed their trailer then, which was an alright trailer, but it was this recent trailer that it kind of got a bit out there with the prosthetics and shit like that.
Well, the problem is that they're associating people who don't like this trailer with being Trump supporters. And maybe it is true that a large portion of people who do not like the idea of women in a non-time appropriate game would be Trump supporters. But that just suggests something different about Trump supporters, that they're not willing to, I guess, accept false, false information. That they're not willing to accept 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 false information. That they're not willing to ac false, I suppose, representations just for money or for the opportunity to sell more copies.
You know, that one guy I was saying that we might get in on this, he's been chatting us up the whole time in the chat.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
No, at least a couple of times. I don't know if he's watching right now, but that's funny.
Oh, so I assume he can't contact you.
I don't know. He hasn't sent me any messages or anything. Unless he sent me them over Discord, but I don't think so.
Well, regardless, the point of the matter is that it's not a matter of her being a woman. There were women who fought. If you can mash it into the story and make it sound realistic, that's fine. But I've already.
But you guys aren't trying to give that a chance. There's not that much about the story released yet. You know what I mean?
That's because there's a second portion of it. I don't think you've done any research into the actual pictures of the sort of the snapshots of them playing. There's women in almost every single picture, different women. Okay. So we're not talking about just one woman.
No, they're going to have a whole customizable. No, the storyline is probably going to focus around one single woman and maybe a few other women.
But in the gameplay, it's going to be 20. If you can choose women, I know guys that would never choose a man. They would just constantly choose a woman. And the funny thing is that there's a lot of women with long coats. So you know why they have long coats, right?
No, I do not.
Think about it, man.
Think about it.
Long coats, women.
Nah.
Big asses. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, to hide up how sexy they look?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
don't expect that in the real game if they give you customizable options here.
I don't think they'll allow you not to do that for some classes, I think. But anyways, the point of the matter is that it is a dishonorable practice if they're not going to tell you that they're no longer going down this road, and then a dishonorable practice to say you're the problem.
Well, to be honest, man, I gotta disagree with you on that, like, completely. I mean, I get what everyone thinks here. I get everyone thinks that, like, oh, they want to prove that they're better. No, EA just wants to sell more games. EA is a scrupulous as fuck company, and they want to sell as many games as possible. And they could care less about anything else.
Don't buy it.
No, one specific guy said don't buy it.
Right, and you don't think that has any relationship with him being gotten rid of. So that means they must have been supported. They
must have thought that wasn't going to hurt them.
But again, you said that it wouldn't hurt them.
But that whole no media is bad media is what I'm getting at there. Like, they're looking at this as, oh, hey, this guy is still keeping us in. Cool. Because keeping us in the news gets us more sales.
Right. But did it?
Not yet. I mean, it could have by now. I mean, this was reported. This was reported 5 days ago.
Okay. Oh, yeah, 5 days ago. Okay. Yeah. So you're saying now that the sales are back where they should be?
I'm saying that there's no way we can know, and none of this is official. This is all speculative by analysts.
Okay.
There's no official numbers by any means. But I assume EA is expecting a lower than normal pre-sale option on this. That doesn't mean that they're not going to do well the first week. That doesn't mean they're not going to do well the first year. Because Battlefield games always have a long lives after they're sold by new people buying them. Or after their opening weeks.
Normally.
Yes. Like every single time. Even Hardline, still you can go into Battlefield Hardline and always find 5 or 6 games. No problem. And
I think that's
like the worst game ever.
Across pretty much
it's
every...
not. Not at all. I mean, you go in and you play like, fuck. I'm trying to think of, Mass Effect Andromeda. You couldn't get a multiplayer game at all in that going.
Okay. First of all, you chose the game that nobody likes.
Okay, fine. Let me go into a game that people do like then. Shit. You gotta make this
I can still get people to play, what do you call that? Kino der Toten in Call of Duty Black Ops. The first one?
Yeah, people still play that. But a lot of people play that game. That's not uncommon. Again,
okay.
Call of Duty is on the same level as Battlefield, so this goes both ways with them. Either way, there will be a lot of people playing both those games, okay?
You just proved my point. I said that happens frequently, that there is a lot of replay value. But more recently, EA Games has been dropping the ball on that. Like, if you go on to Battlefield 1, it's going to be a lot harder than it is before to get matched up now. Do you play Battlefield 1 at all?
Yeah, I got it.
No, I asked if you played it.
What? If
like right now?
Yeah.
Still play it?
Maybe once a month or something I'll jump in.
Once a month. Okay, yeah, sure you do. Okay, yeah.
No. I mean, I'll play it every once in a while, yeah.
Okay, what's the most recent, what was it, DLC for it?
Fuck off. I ain't buying DLC for that shitty-ass game.
Yeah, you'd still see it. Every time you log in, they advertise it. So you'd still know what it is.
Shit, fuck off. I would not.
Yeah, that's right. If you played it, you'd know. But you don't. So you don't play it.
Well, of course you're delayed, Drew. Drew's like typing over here. He doesn't want to get it on top of it. He's like, oh, I'll keep on typing. What the fuck, Drew? Alright. We gotta move on to a new topic. So, final thoughts here.
Okay, my final thought is that if you want people's money, don't fuck with them.
Ah, I like that. It's nice and simple. And I'm going to say EA's fuck no matter what. EA needs to end. They are the problem. They're not going to be fixing the problem.
Solid point. I think we both agree on this one.
Yeah, but for different reasons.
That's true.
The SJW has nothing to do with it. EA is a terrible fucking publisher. They need to stop being a publisher. They need to get out of the fucking industry. Origin is the worst. Fuck you guys. Fuck EA and everything fucking about it. Alright. We'll be back, motherfuckers. And we're back. Ah, yay.
Welcome back to the Tales of Uncle Tom and the White Devil.
Hey, you did it. Yay.
Yay.
Don't forget to see a primary care for every stage of life. Learn more.
It's very important.
Sorry. There's this ad in the corner. You can't see that right now, but it's there.
Also, you should know, they've officially lowered the age for one male to get a colonoscopy examination from, I think it was 50 to 45. So, no, sorry, it was 60 to 50. It was 55 to 50 now. So, just so you know, 50.
So, hold on. Side topic for just 2 seconds here. No longer. But if you get a colonoscopy done at, like, let's say 27, does that mean you don't have to get one done until you're like 55?
No.
No. It doesn't even make sense.
I can tell you why. So, for example, the mutations that cause colon cancer can occur basically at any stage of life, especially when one is become, let's say, degenerate in their body functions. So, yeah, when you become older, your processes start to flag a little bit, and then, you gotta get the finger up the ass.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Okay.
All right. Serious face, because we got a serious topic now.
Okay.
Chill out. All right. Tonight we are going to talk about the death of Mollie Tibbetts. Okay, that might be too serious and overplaying it there. But seriously, this chick, she was killed in Iowa. She's been missing for like, what, a month?
The murder,
you're right. Sorry, I should have said murder, not death. But, so, she's been missing for a month in Iowa. And it's been all over the fucking news, especially in Iowa. Not saying I would know that, but I know that. So, basically, she's been missing for a month. No one knew where she was. And then all of a sudden, a couple of days ago, they came out and said they found her body. And then a few hours later, they said they arrested this dude for killing her. And this dude happened to be an illegal immigrant. His name is Christian Biana Riviera. I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably not, but screw it. This guy's a douche either way. But it's re-sparked this whole debate for the whole angel families thing. And if you don't know, angel families are families who have had a member killed by an illegal immigrant. And basically, I want to get your honest thoughts on this and see if you see a correlation, or is it more of an issue if someone is killed by an illegal immigrant than if they were killed by, American citizen?
So, my honest thought is absolutely. It's a major issue, a more significant issue than if an American killed another American. The main reason is because they shouldn't even be here to kill another person. And the second, I think, and maybe even just as important reason, is that there's a slight incentive. Maybe incentive's a bad word, but a benefit or a contingency that affects them and no one else. So, for example, an illegal immigrant is able to escape murder charges in some states, and they're able to escape violent crime charges in some states, and basically because they can be deported and they don't have to fill the prisons.
All right. So one of the first questions I want to ask you before we get to talking about the legitimate things, because you kind of brought this up already. If an illegal immigrant commits a crime in America, should they be thrown into our legal system?
Well, that's a difficult one. So it depends on the crime, of course.
Mm-hmm. And that's how we do it right now, where it depends on the crime. If the crime's severe enough, then we're going to keep you here, and we're going to put you through our legal system, especially if it's going to end up getting you the death penalty or life in prison. And then we're going to keep you, and we're going to pay to take care of you forever.
Unless some of them have been provided the opportunity to live in a sanctuary city. Mm-hmm. Then that's a different story entirely.
Yeah. So, do you think, because I've heard this mentioned, do you think that there should be a separate court system for illegal immigrants?
No.
No. All right. Do you believe that illegal immigrants should have all the rights in our current court system that us as Americans get?
No.
No. So what do you think is the compromise between these two things? How do you think it should work?
If you don't kill an American, you don't die. And if you do kill an American, you die.
Automatically, like straight up, like we call it like an act of war or something.
No, well, we'll give the whatever foreign government the opportunity to take you back, but if they say we're not going to have him back because he killed somebody, then sorry. No, sorry. I don't know why I said I was sorry. I'm not sorry. But the point of the matter is that there has to be, I don't want to say a deterrent, but in reality it is a deterrent. There should be no illegal immigration. It's a disrespect to the country, and it's a disrespect to people who are legal immigrants.
No matter what, you're going to have illegal immigration. Even if you have people just staying over their visas or something. Unless you literally hire a team of people to go around and search for people that might be outside of their visa. It's just impossible.
It is impossible from your perspective, okay? But if illegal immigration, okay, is punishable by death, how much illegal immigration do you think there would be?
Whoa! Are we talking about any illegal immigration?
Yeah.
We're not talking about people that have committed a crime. We're talking about all legal immigration, period.
Right. In this theoretical thing we're going through, you said that it is impossible to end immigration. I'm asking you, how much immigration do you think there would be if any illegal immigrant that was found was killed?
I think it would be far less. Definitely. If you were to put some stupid-ass law like this into place, how much time would you give people to leave the country before this took effect?
Okay, so I see what you're saying. I would give them, let's see, I would figure out how long it takes to walk to...
So you're talking like a month, maybe, at most.
Yes.
That is fucked up, man. That is severely fucked up.
Oh, I'm sorry, but they're countrymen. First of all, they're illegal, so they have violated the state's, our United States doctrine. They have disrespected our United States.
Uh-huh.
And for whatever reason that they've come here, it was not our problem. They left their problem, and they came here, and too many of them have started too many problems here. So that is the situation, and it is unfortunate that good people will be brought into this situation. But unfortunately, with them came problems as well. Problems we don't have to deal with. And we shouldn't have to.
A person getting murdered by an illegal immigrant once every year or so?
Yeah. We shouldn't have to deal with that.
I mean, overall, the rates are about equal to what they would be in any other society. But is that good or bad? Because, I mean, that just tells me that it's normal. This guy's a psychopath just like any other American psychopath out there. Mm-hmm. Why is it that we should add the illegal immigration thing into the conversation as harsh as we have? Because he shouldn't have been here to begin with?
That's correct. Yeah.
All right, so he would have killed someone in Mexico if that was the case eventually.
So, okay, so we're going off of the premise, as I understand it, is that this individual will kill someone at some time, somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. So let's, for example, use this case with Mollie.
I don't think what I'm trying to get at is I don't think you should hold this case against every illegal immigrant. That's what people are fucking doing in this situation.
Well, hold on, let me finish. So if I understand your situation correctly, with Mollie and this other individual, this illegal immigrant who killed her, if he wasn't here, he would have done the same thing in Mexico. Is that correct?
I would assume so, yes. I mean, maybe not, maybe, but there's more than likely yes. How's that?
Okay. So you're saying that in this scenario, we are assuming that on this date that he did it, whether he was in Canada, Mexico, United States...
Well, for all I know, something here might have set him off, but either way, this guy was predisposition to it. I don't think his immigration status had anything to do with his ability to commit this crime.
Okay, so under this argument in which this individual would commit the murder no matter where he was,
yes,
why wouldn't we want him out of the country?
We would. I get that. I get that you want this guy out of the country. That's fine. Well, we don't want him out of the country anymore. We want him to go to jail at this point. I'm kind of, like, secretly, I'm hoping that somehow this will be construed as a federal crime. That way the death penalty is on the table.
See, I don't really care too much about that. The problem is that the door was open. And you can do whatever you want to this individual.
Yeah, but you're holding him as the standard for every other illegal immigrant out there. You're saying, oh, because he kills someone, that means any illegal immigrant can kill someone.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, that's not how you should be thinking about it. You're thinking about it in a completely wrong way here. You're thinking about it like, oh, if this person did it, that means the others must do it too. That doesn't even fucking make sense. That's beyond stereotyping and racism. That's straight up.
You said the other ones must do it. That's what you said. What I'm saying is the other ones can do it, and they shouldn't be allowed to. So you see the difference in our statements.
Yeah, I do see the difference, what you're getting at here. Okay, I'll backtrack a little bit.
I understand that most of them, like let's just say 95% of them won't commit murder. Okay. Now, we can go into the violent crimes. We can go to the drug trafficking. Those percentages are higher than the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Sorry, not Native American.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, Americans. Yes. So let's brush those aside and go purely with the murder rate, because when we look at, so I investigated this personally in Texas. There's statistics on, they've kept pretty detailed records on illegal crimes, unlike the other states around them that keep it kind of willy-nilly when they report illegals actually doing crime. So what they discovered is that it is, I think, a 3.7 out of 100,000 versus I want to say 5.8 out of 100,000. So 5.8, or sorry,
you might have to dumb this down a little bit.
I'm going to.
Okay.
So the murder rate for a native Texan, so non-immigrant and non-illegal immigrant,
yes,
is, I believe, about 5.5. Okay.
Percent.
So 5.5 out of 100,000 people.
Okay, gotcha.
So if there's 100,000 people in front of you, 5.5 of them are going to be a murderer or have done murder, or be convicted for murder. So when we go to the illegal immigrants, right? If you have 100,000 immigrants in front, illegal immigrants, 3.7 of them will have committed murder. Okay. So initially everyone's all like, well, native born people commit murder at a higher rate based off of, if we were to apply these statistics across the board. Okay. But now we have to go into the specifics of this murder rate, because the majority of illegal immigrants in Texas are Mexican. Like, if you look up the statistics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's damn near 100%. So
I believe that.
So when we look at the demographic of white people, is because we're looking at the Mollie situation. So we got Mollie, who is white, and we have the murderer, who is Mexican, right? Yes. So when looking at these statistics, we take 70%, because that's the Texas white population according to, I think, a 2010 survey. And we discover that it's about 3.79 versus 3.7 out of 100,000. So we've got the native population and the illegal population at damn near even when it comes to the murder rate, when you just compare white people to illegal immigrants.
All right.
Okay. So the problem is that this whole 3.7 out of 100,000 doesn't even need to be there. It can disappear in 1 month. You can get rid of it, and you can lower the murder rate by that much.
True. But what about the people who are just here trying to get by in life? I mean, why would we kick out perfectly good workers? Perfectly good family people? I mean, I'm not saying we need to get them to the point where they can vote, but I am saying, why would we take them out using the excuse of, some of you might kill people, therefore we can't have any of you? That'd be like saying, cars kill people, so therefore we can't have any cars. Because then people dying in car accidents would be 0.
Well, to begin with, you just compared illegal immigrants to cars. But that aside,
fucking Twitter headliner tomorrow. People will be using the Me Too movement on me.
The reason why we would do that, because that's not our problem. Their lives, their situation. They came here to escape their problems. They wanted a better life. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done it legally, but they didn't. There are those who do it legally. And they don't deserve this because they actually have the lowest murder rate out of everyone, native or illegal.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, the people who come here legally have a better adherence to our standards. And then those people who come here illegally have the worst adherence to our standards per capita when it comes to all the crimes. Why would we want to keep any of them? They're illegal. We can't selectively choose or predict who's going to violate the law. And to be technical, they have already begun to violate the law by their mere presence.
All right.
It's not a matter...
To keep this moving along here, I want to bring this into a different direction here. So let's just go straight off. Illegal immigrants should not be allowed here. Now, why are we not holding the businesses that hire them responsible?
So this is actually pretty interesting. In this particular case, have you heard of E-Verify?
Yeah, supposedly he didn't use the E-Verify system. Supposedly he used the Social Security Verify system or whatever, ran by a private company.
Well, either way, the company that hired this individual cleared him.
Yes.
So
Under a fake name.
It doesn't matter. The system, as it was, failed to catch him.
Which is his side of the story. That might come out to be completely false later on because it's...
That's all the information we have right now.
Yes,
so
sure.
So
but it's pretty common for farmers, especially smaller farm companies or farm families, which could be either or in this situation, to just hire people and never actually look it up. And not bother with the paperwork.
Case, it makes it a little bit more sketchy because I believe the brother or the sister is also some sort of Republican high mucky muck in the government there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of those situations where his brother or sister, I don't know, shared his politics, then he would definitely do that. So again, there would be the records. There's always going to be the records. So if he didn't, it's going to be found out real quick. And I'm surprised if he didn't do it, then it hasn't been found out by now. And it's been a couple of days and they're trying to investigate this guy.
It's been 1.5 days and that's it. So it's still pretty early on. But that's beside the point.
I said a couple of days.
Okay.
It's something that would be really quick to do. So
let's move on to policy changes that don't involve executing people. What I think should be a policy change is requiring every worker in America to have a photo ID to work and have the E-Verify system include a photo ID of yourself.
Interesting. Okay. No, that would be... so I can tell you the argument against that already. That would be racist.
Why?
The same reason that voter ID fraud is a racist activity.
No. The reason why voter ID fraud is racist or voter ID fraud is wrong because it's suppression. But that's a different debate for another day.
So no, it's the same debate. So the people who would rail against that policy are the same people who want the people to be able to work. They want people to be able to make it to they want people who are illegal to be successful in this country because across the board, states are not okay with illegal people.
Yeah, no. And I get where they're coming from there. But this way, we can definitely hold the employers responsible because if they just then decide not to bother to compare the two pictures, then... There we go. Because even the E-Verify system, all you have to do is show you a Social Security card and a driver's license, or a Social Security card and a birth certificate. There you go.
So this is interesting. What you want is the burden to fall to the employer.
Yes.
Okay. The private
100%.
employer.
The private employer. I want that burden of whether I am a citizen or not to fall on them. It already does in most ways, but unfortunately it isn't 100%. What?
I agree with you. In many ways, it does fall on them.
It's just, it's not perfect right now. So let's take it and let's make it perfect. Let's require a photo ID and a photo ID in the system.
Okay. So
like you need a worker permit, is what I'm saying, to work in this country. Maybe that's the solution. I know it's a bit Orwellian, and people don't like having their picture taken.
I think you're talking about a worker permit for everyone.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. You have
which
to
is
have
horrifying.
See, I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to think that it was too much.
Yeah, because...
Okay, name one system that would work better for keeping illegal immigrants from getting jobs in this country.
Kicking out illegal immigrants.
Okay, fine. Now, we're kicking them out. What's to stop them from coming back in? Executing them? That's where we want to go next. Straight up. Okay, fine. A wall. Now, what about all the immigrants that overstaying their visa? What's that going to do?
Overstaying their visa?
Yeah.
Same thing. Kick them out.
Yeah, but you can't kick them out if you can't kick them out if you can't find them.
Right. So when they are found, okay, because people find them all the time. Sanctuary cities know where they are. They release them. Parking issues arise. They don't have any licenses to support their claim that this is their car. Mm-hmm. They are found all the time, but they don't get reported because the infraction they commit is a non-violent crime.
I think I see where you're getting at, where sanctuary cities might be the problem, and I think I can agree with you on that. I think we should have uniformity when it comes to laws in this country, especially laws that do citizenship. I would rather be a lot more lenient than what it is federally, but at the same time, I don't like the idea of having it be, oh, I'm safe in this city, but if I go 100 miles this way, I'm fucked. Or if I'm out in the country, I'm fucked. I would rather it have the uniformity. I do not like the idea of different cities having different policies comes to this. Maybe even statewide uniformity is okay. But if I'm literally traveling from my house to, the city 30 miles down the road, and I get pulled over in that time, and I would get deported then, but I wouldn't get deported if I got stopped at my house. That makes no fucking sense.
So you'd rather them to be deported in both places?
I would rather have the uniformity. Yes.
What you're willing to mention is that you want uniformity of sanctuary law.
I want uniformity of, you are innocent. You cannot be... I don't... because we explained this earlier on, but I want it to be where you cannot be investigated for illegal immigration. You have to be investigated for another crime, like murdering someone. And then we investigate your immigration status.
Wow, that's interesting. How do you feel about borders, national borders?
I think they're a thing of the past.
I knew you were going to say that.
I think 200 years from now, we're all going to look back in this time and go, man, we were fucked up back then. Good thing our grandparents are dead.
Yeah, so what do you base that idea off of? Like, what time period do you think that would ever work, or has worked in the past?
What? Oh, well, it hasn't worked in the past, but that's the whole point of evolution. We're moving beyond the past.
Oh, okay. So you think evolution would lead us to the point where there's no more competition? I
think the need for it will lead us to the point. The second we start moving off the planet, for example, okay? If we ever do, I think there's going to be a need for one world government. I think there's going to be a need for Star Trek-esque things,
So there's an actual interesting argument against that Star Trek thing, because in reality, it sort of wipes out all cultures.
It sort of. Sort of.
Yeah. So it makes violations. So, for example, there are cultures that do genital mutilation, right? For females.
No, you're right. There would be a generalized culture by the end of it. No doubt.
Right. And so even if it was a religious practice, eventually it would be beaten down.
But you already see that shit being shaped right now with the SJW movement.
Which is horrifying, yes.
Yes, so... I mean, again, 200 years from now, SJWs take over because they are winning. You guys aren't winning this. The SJWs are. No matter how you look at it, the narrative has changed. 10 years ago, you saw a gay couple kiss on TV. You thought, wow, that was fucked up. There was a gay couple kissing on television. Now you don't even fucking think about it. That is how they're changing you. I watch a lot of TV, and I don't even fucking think about it anymore, man.
Did you think about it then?
Yeah. definitely.
Okay. So when it comes to a gay couple, you're comfortable with their kissing.
Yeah, I don't care about that. Sure.
And so,
like in TV, I don't even pay attention half the time. I go, oh shit,
guys,
that means he's with him. Hell yeah.
2 guys, 2 girls, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially the 2 girls one. I'm definitely cool with that one. I don't think I've ever been against that one.
Do you think any male has ever been against 2 girls kissing?
If they are, then they probably should be kissing another guy.
Okay. Well, there are men against, or not necessarily against it, but that it doesn't do anything for them. And then, so the thing that you're talking about is actually something that is not true. All right. So you think that the movement has progressed people beyond the point where that doesn't repulse them, but repulsion is a psychological, it's embedded in your psychology. So,
but at the same time, it goes away after repeated abuse or use. You know, just like being scared of something, it just goes away after you've seen it a million times. That's why a lot of psychologists use like scare you straight tactics. You know.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean scare you straight tactics.
You know, like if you're scared of snakes, it's probably a good idea for you to lay down on a bed of snakes because you're going to get over that fear a lot quicker.
No, that is incorrect. So you may be able to get over that fear if you lay down on a bed of snakes, or it may even get worse. Or depending on you laying on that bed of snakes, a snake may crawl up your leg or get in your pant leg and make the fear of snakes worse. So in this particular case, when we're talking about homosexual kissing on television, okay, many people did not have an issue with it, but never saw it. So when it came down to whether you're for it or against it, the main thrust of society was saying, obviously, that's not a good thing. So, all right, I agree to that.
Yeah.
But because we're in the United States, the core of our sort of ideology has always been the freedom to choose.
Yes.
So if you look at our media, okay, there has been a history of homosexual characters in media. They usually play villains in, like, I want to say the 60s or something like that, 70s.
80s
but over time, they've changed, even in media.
Well, yeah, fuck. I mean, you look at 80s, you know, you got, or 80s, early 90s, you got, like, fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that was 70s, and then fucking 90s, you go from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to fucking Silence of the Lambs, and then you move on to Will and Grace, and then you go from Will and Grace to Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, where you go through that whole comedy stage.
Right.
And then,
so you're talking about the court case that changed it all. I can't remember the name of it, but even before that, the television shows that included gay people, the movies that included gay people, they would not be successful in a society that was avidly against gay people psychologically. Okay. It wouldn't work.
I do need to pull us back, though, because we're getting way into a different topic. But what I'm trying to get at with this general point is the fact that, generally speaking, at least over the last 100 years or so, conservative policies have been on the wrong side of history. And I expect that border walls will be in the same area.
Okay. Give me a conservative policy that was on the wrong side of history.
All right, I'll go straight up. Jim Crow laws, very conservative policy.
Those were Democrats.
I didn't say Democrat or Republican. I said conservative. They were conserving their values.
You're saying Democratic conservatives. Okay. All right. So conservatism.
I'm saying conservatives, but yes, Democratic conservatives.
Conservatism in this particular sense, you're referring to the prevention.
Democrats were not liberal pre-1930s. That wasn't something that came until about
I see what you're saying.
The New Deal time period.
In that regard, the Jim Crow laws did not exist. They were created. So the laws were created after a certain time period to prevent mixing.
Yes.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, to prevent mixing.
That means that it wasn't a conservation effort to maintain laws that existed. It was a progressive effort to add laws.
No, it was a conservative thing to keep people from mixing. I mean, you said the answer to yourself as to why it's conservative.
Right. I'm saying that was the progressive idea. The progressive idea was that there was some difference in the blood. Yeah, because it wasn't adopted by everyone.
That was not a progressive idea. That was an idea that was held to be true for 200 years before that. You can't call that progressive with that much history behind it.
You're saying that the, what do you call that? The one-drop law. Okay, right? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, so whiteness. All right. Do you remember the case that we talked about where there was a Japanese individual who determined that he was just as white as his neighbors and therefore he should deserve citizenship? This is before.
Yeah. I remember you telling me about that. Yeah.
So that was visual whiteness that they were going off of.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means before that they were going with a system of visual whiteness. After that they were going off of a blood and then a culture aspect.
Progressing. I get what you're saying. It's moving up into a progressive nature.
Eventually, black people had adopted, in large part, the culture of white people, but that still wasn't okay because there still needed to be separation. So the idea progressed to blood, specifically. Mm-hmm. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they made sure to say separate but equal.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the standard. They had to say that standard because before that, they were mixing, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So even in the North, they didn't have these problems. So the standard that was for the nation at the time was that there was no Jim Crow. Then there was Jim Crow. So that means that's a progression. See what I'm saying?
That's a hell of a stretch, but even you can't deny that by the 1960s and the civil rights movement was coming around and all this stuff, that those were liberal ideologies, whereas anti-civil rights was a conservative ideology.
At that time, yes, they were trying to conserve laws that were on the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Now let's move us up to now. Watch a show from the 90s, like let's say Howard Stern, for example.
Okay.
Half-naked women on TV and stuff, and guys oogling. Man Show's another good example from the early 2000s. Things like that, where one of the staples of the shows would be having half-naked women come out and everybody go, ooh, yeah, half-naked women. You can't have that nowadays. Shows like that don't exist.
They're on YouTube.
Yeah, they are on YouTube nowadays. What I'm saying is there is a progressive nature to our society. Where things have changed in our lifetimes.
It doesn't work like that. What happens is it hides from you. It hides from you, and people get angry about it. And then you get Trump.
And then you get Trump. You know what? You got a point there. I can't deny that right now, but I suspect 10 years from now we'll be going, the fuck were we doing Trump?
Oh, really?
And there will still be a segment of the population going, Trump had it right. But, okay. Well, hold on. We gotta go back. We are so far off right now.
Go on, yeah.
Okay. We gotta take the illegal immigration, okay? The fact that this tragedy, well, not tragedy, this fucking heinous crime, okay? I don't want to make it sound like this guy's a victim by any means, because he's not. He's even trying to do a full bullshit, fucking insanity approach to his trial.
According to the testimony, he said that he saw her running, and he followed her with his car, and then he got out of his car, ran up to her. And then she said she was going to call the police, and he blacked out, and she was dead in her trunk.
Blacked out is bullshit code for I grabbed her, took her home, and raped her for a week, then killed her. And hid her body. I mean, I can guarantee you that. I guarantee you that's going to come out, man. I don't even think she died then. I bet it was a week or two later.
That would be harsh, but I mean, it is possible. I mean, we don't know.
The guy is full of fucking shit. He did not black out. That's fucking bullshit. That's just that's just him going for a fucking insanity plea. That's what he's going for. And he's not going to get it. It's not going to work. His best case scenario is going to be getting the thing moved out of Iowa, Alright, so angel families in particular become a thing over the last 4 years or so.
That's true, yeah.
Where basically you have families who have been affected by, someone usually killing family members. An illegal immigrant killing...
Immigrants. Yes. Killing American citizens or authorized immigrants, yeah.
Yeah, correct. All right? And they have started to band together, especially under Trump, okay? To bring up this whole narrative about how This wouldn't have happened if they weren't allowed into this country. It would have probably happened to someone else, but it wouldn't have happened to their kid.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Assuming the standard that we've placed, which is they would kill someone. So yes, under that standard, this would have happened in a different area. So go on. What's your defense for that?
My defense for that is no matter what, someone's going to get killed. No matter what, people are going to get killed by white people, Hispanic people. The numbers are always going to be the same. Almost no matter how you look at it, they're going to be dead even. People get crazy. People kill people. Hell, most of the angel families are there because of drunk drivers. And we have more drunk drivers in America that are white than almost any other race. And that doesn't...
So, go on.
Yeah, so... Okay. What I am trying to say in particular here is that the immigration status should not reflect on other illegal immigrants. These murders should not reflect on them. These killings.
So I would like to point out that you just said we have more white drunk drivers.
Yeah.
So you have just used that to reflect on all white people.
Okay, I was trying to be a bit hyperbole there. You're right.
Go ahead and try. I would like you to try not to use collectivism. It's pretty hard to do in this.
It is impossible to do. But
so why would you have people who you are already using collectivism? Why can't anyone else do that?
Okay, collectivism is okay, but it shouldn't be making policy.
Okay, so you're saying that black scholarships are not supposed to be a thing, or
what? Like
civil rights?
You're gonna find out.
Policy.
I agree with you on that a bit.
Oh, okay. So maybe it is okay to make policies.
No. I said I agreed with you.
Oh, I know. I'm saying so maybe it is okay to make policies for minorities.
No, right? I'm saying it's not okay.
Oh, so you're saying it's not okay?
I'm not a huge fan of what's the word
civil
for them?
Rights.
Not civil rights. The specific
anti-slavery laws.
No, fucking. Oh my God, what is it called? Affirmative action laws.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Yeah, that's fine. So, what about hate laws?
I hate you. All right.
Protected classes? No?
All right. I get what you're saying there.
So if there are protected classes, there must be targeted classes as well. You understand this, right? The absence of...
I don't think hate crimes should get you worse. I think there should be protective classes to make sure that you're getting the same rights as like a customer or an employee or anything like that. But if you get murdered by someone, it shouldn't have... Whether the person killed you because you were gay or because you were white or black or anything like that, I think that should be completely inconsequential.
Okay, you're saying the motive for killing someone should be inconsequential to the murder.
No, I'm saying it should be inconsequential to other people.
To the sentencing.
Like, yeah, exactly. It should be inconsequential to the sentencing. Provided it goes into the same things, first degree murder, second degree murder, third degree. So if it's a first degree murder where you intended to kill that person, that means it's first degree murder, not first degree murder with a fucking hate crime added onto it.
Okay. Well, so you're saying that you still said that it is appropriate to use the law to racially profile some people, or I guess demographically profile some people.
It's important to keep the law to where people can expect the same fairness out of everyone else. Especially when it comes to dealing with like money and buying things. And
by providing them special fairness.
No, by making sure that they have the exact same amount. Like, if I'm gay, I expect to be able to go over to any bakery and get a cake.
Mm-hmm. So that's a special treatment, because if the bakery didn't want to give that to you, you happen to be gay, that stops that from happening.
I expect to receive the same treatment that a straight person would receive. Okay. Not saying anything more. I just want the exact same treatment.
Right. Except for when that person is against you specifically. So if they have whatever reason they choose to, they can't exercise that right. See what I'm saying? If they're not down with you having your gay wedding and they don't want to make your cake, You want them to make the cake regardless. That's not something that. So straight couple comes in there, they say want a cake, and he's like, no, I don't want to make you a cake. There's no law to protect them for that. But because the gay relationship is a protected.
Look, if it's a gay person who's making the cake, and they're like, oh God, I don't like straight people, then that should be illegal.
If it's a gay person.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, either way. Like, if you don't want to make someone a cake because they are having, because they don't agree, they do not agree with your same things you agree with, whether you're gay or straight as a baker, then you still need to make that fucking cake. Unless the customer was a dick.
You are using the government to force an action for an issue, for a minority group, or for whatever reason.
I want the government to be able to make business dealings equal.
Yeah, I know. Make them. Force them to be.
To force everybody to be equal in who they deal with. Who they hire, who they sell. We already do this. This isn't something that I'm just pulling out of my hat here.
Them to be equal. But you don't want the government to inhibit illegal aliens who are not equal. So they are not equal because they are not rightfully here. That means it's inequality. But you won't allow the government to force equality, meaning only people who are allowed to be here in this country.
Wait, what?
Okay. The standard would be you are supposed to be here and you're not supposed to be here. You won't allow the government to get rid of everyone so that's not supposed to be here, so that everyone who is here is supposed to be here. See what I'm saying? They would all be equal. They would all be legitimate citizens. You won't allow the government to do that. But in this particular case, you'll make sure everyone gets a cake no matter what the person who's making the cake feels like.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll make the government do that.
Provided they don't piss off the person, be a dick customer or anything like that. Like, obviously, just refusing for any reason at any time should still be acceptable. And it should lay on the person filing a lawsuit against that company to prove that they were discriminated against because of a protected class.
The specifics are irrelevant. You will allow the government, the U.S. government, to force American citizens to produce a product against their will. But you will not allow the U.S. government to force non-American citizens out of the country.
I do not want the government to force non-American citizens out of the country. I don't want them to be able to investigate that. I don't want them to be able to, like, oh, I don't think that person's a citizen. I'm going to look into that. Like,
you realize you're treating non-citizens better than you're treating citizens. Right, in your theory,
we've totally had this debate before, so we're really backtracking on certain things we talked about before.
We're talking about the same thing. I'm saying that your standard for illegal immigrants, not being forced out of the country, is a better standard than you would offer American citizens.
How?
Because you would be forcing American citizens to produce products equally. Okay, despite any disadvantages, you would force equality.
Yes.
But you wouldn't force equality under the law for illegal immigrants.
I would take illegal, being an illegal immigrant and make it a law that you cannot, if, you can't get away with getting the illegal immigrants into the country and just going with an open North American border.
That doesn't alleviate the issue. I'm accusing you of being unequal in your treatment of American citizens and illegal immigrants.
How, though? I mean, what is the illegal immigrant getting that the American citizen doesn't? How is this unequal?
The opportunity to break the law.
First off, there's plenty of laws you have the opportunity to break that the police can't investigate without another crime being done first.
Yes, but this one's particularly easy to investigate.
Well, again, you can investigate it. Like, if you pull a Hispanic person over for speeding, and they can't produce a driver's license, then you have a chance to investigate. You cannot. You should not be allowed to go out there and investigate an illegal immigrant.
To allow illegal immigrants to exist in this country without any sort of intervention from the government, okay?
Provided they do not break any laws. Yes.
For that basis, okay? But there is no law that an American citizen can break. Okay, that the U.S. government can't investigate them for.
There are. I mean, there are laws like that where they cannot investigate you unless if you have been caught doing another thing. Well, fine. Let's use texting and driving, for example. Okay, just
You're
a
saying
simple
that
one.
they cannot investigate.
They
you
cannot.
texting and driving.
You cannot be pulled over for texting and driving. Well, some states you can, but like this state in particular.
Wait, hold on. What was that?
Some states
Some
you
states
can.
you can.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But like, let's say one state in particular. And I'm not going to name specifics, but one state in particular that I know and dearly admire has a law where basically you cannot be pulled over for texting on your cell phone while driving. You can only be pulled over for something else, and then they can write you a ticket for texting and driving upon investigation of that. If they see you sitting there and texting and driving, they cannot pull you over for that. They can only investigate you after you've been pulled over for another crime. Just like the insurance rules. As of right now, in every single state, they do not have a law where there is no law where they can investigate your insurance status on your car before they have pulled you over for another crime.
Okay, the state that you're talking about, they can pull you over.
Okay, this was like a year-long thing. It's not that way anymore, you're right. But still, like insurance. Okay? You cannot be pulled over for not having insurance.
Okay, so you're saying that you can't be pulled over for not having insurance.
Correct.
Right? You haven't committed the violation until you failed to present your insurance.
Yes, correct. Because it is legal to drive. It is not legal to drive, or you have to present. It's illegal to not present your insurance upon request.
That is correct. So that means that until they ask you, it's like Schrodinger's cat. You both have insurance and you don't have insurance.
Exactly.
So
and I'm implying that we should do the same thing for illegal immigration. Give people a chance to breathe. They should not feel like they are constantly.
That is the standard that is already here. Okay. So and when a person comes up, when a officer comes up and asks them for their ID, and they're unable to provide it or unable to communicate with them, that is when they suspect them for being illegal immigrants legally, when they have suspicion.
Yeah, I think I don't think that should be enough, but that is the way it is right now.
You just said that you want the standard for insurance.
Well, I think it should take a bit more than just, you can't speak English, therefore I'm going to investigate you. Like, that shouldn't be the way it is, because there's no required language in federally right now. So, therefore, you're not doing anything wrong. There's no reason for the cop to talk to you. Yeah. All right. We've had this debate before. We're going to get back into this exact same debate.
My point is that you have just provided ample evidence as to why you would treat illegal aliens better than American citizens. You have given them an out when talking to the police on a crime that they are actively committing. You would allow a police officer not to be able to investigate a crime that is visibly being committed, that is easily provable. But you wouldn't offer the same thing to American citizens. There's no crime that you've been able to list that you would have the police officer avoid investigating for them, to protect them.
Look, if I don't have insurance on my car, okay, I got pulled over the day before and showed the cop I did not have insurance. That same cop cannot pull me over the next day and ask me if I have insurance. He has to pull me over for another reason. It's the exact same situation. There has to be a reason. He still got me once because he pulled me over for speeding, let's say, the day before.
That's all they would need. They would prove that you're an illegal immigrant and they'd get you out. The first time, not the second time.
Yeah, exactly. But they would need to be pulled over for speeding first. They would have to have a reason for the cops interacting. If there's no good reason for a police officer interacting with you, then everything is null and void at that point.
The presence in the country is the reason.
Yeah, but how can you prove that based on what the person's doing?
Okay. The presence in the country is doing something.
Yeah, but, okay. You're not looking at this the right way. You're literally asking for their papers, okay? This is a search.
No. You don't need to ask for their papers, okay? Because you see that they're, for example, a Mexican, right? Okay. You see, or you hear, for example, that they cannot speak English, okay? And when you ask them for an ID, they cannot communicate with you. You didn't even get to the papers part. You can't get to the papers part because you cannot communicate with them. You see what I'm saying?
Fine, get a fucking translator at that point. But they need
There's
to be...
no need. It's already done.
There needs to be a reason for you to ask them for their ID. A legal, legit reason.
There is no reason. They're an American citizen. The police officer, they can ask anyone for anything they want. There's no crime against asking.
If I'm walking down the street and not driving, I do not have to show my ID to a police officer. I can tell them no.
They can ask you.
But I'm not breaking any laws.
If you say no, you're not.
Yeah. I mean...
Unless you're doing something...
They cannot arrest me for not showing my ID.
They can if you are driving.
If I'm driving, then they can, yes. So if you're a Hispanic and you get pulled over while driving, that's fine.
If, for example, you're trespassing and you don't show your ID, they can arrest you. If you're jaywalking and you don't show your ID, they can arrest you.
Exactly. At those points, yes.
Yes.
But if I am sitting around outside at 7-Eleven without loitering because I know the guy who works there or whatever,
that doesn't
he's
change
my buddy.
Loitering.
Well, okay, I know someone who gave me permission to be there. Okay, let's just go with that. Or I'm walking down the sidewalk. I cannot be stopped.
I hope he owns the building, because that's about it.
Okay, I'm walking down the sidewalk then. Let's just go with that as an example. All right?
Okay.
I'm breaking no laws. Yes, I'm an illegal immigrant. I'm walking down the sidewalk, breaking no laws. All right?
Uh-huh.
A cop comes by and says, "Hi." I say, "No habla English." That's where that conversation ends.
No, it doesn't have to.
Why?
Because the officer can still talk to him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could say whatever he wants, but at what point should that does that conversation become harassment?
What point does that conversation become when he doesn't allow him to leave, or he follows him? I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So if the guy is like, "No habla English," and keeps on walking,
nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that. That works for me.
No, that's the legal standard currently.
Yes.
I'm not changing anything. That's the standard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. But the problem is that you personally want an easier standard for illegal immigrants than you want for American citizens. And that's the problem with this whole angel what is it? Angel families, right? Yeah. Okay. So you think that it would be appropriate not to press all the responsibility of a few criminals on to an entire population of people who are illegal, right?
Yes.
But the only reason that you want that is because you're hoping that a majority of the illegal people are going to have a better life here than they would in their own country.
Correct.
That's it. There's nothing else.
Okay. I'm not seeing the problem with that here.
Okay. The problem is that the people who are in that group are hurting other people.
I understand. There's going to be bad apples in every group.
No, there doesn't have to be any
At what point should we care more about other people in the world than we should care about our own children?
There should be no other care in the United States government than its people. There should be no greater care than its people.
Yeah, tell that to all the wars and police actions we've done.
In history, yes, we've done bad things in history. And
World War II, then. There was, like, no reason for us to deal with Europe at all.
And the American citizens wanted that. They volunteered in droves. They didn't hide from the draft.
Yeah, there were still millions of draftees.
Yeah, and the draftees, okay, some of them tried to avoid it, but some of them went willingly. Most of them went willingly. Because that's the way the standard was.
What I'm saying is policies in this country have before been your child is not more important than a whole society of people.
That is incorrect. The American standard has been
Vietnam.
That every person is. What about it?
What about Vietnam? No one wanted to go there. No one.
No, that's not true.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there was many, but what I'm saying is it was very unpopular. Yeah, most of America didn't want it. Nixon got out of it because most of America didn't want it. All right? That's correct. Yet we still forced our children to go there and die for it. Because how is that any different than this shit?
Because they're not our children.
They weren't our children in Vietnam either.
They were American citizens.
But we didn't go there to help American citizens. We went there to help the Vietnamese,
I think you're mixing up several things. Are you talking about illegal immigrants, okay? Or are you talking about the Vietnamese, or are you talking about American citizens?
Okay. What I am saying is, in this country in the past, we have given up the lives of people in the name of someone in another country to give them a better lives. Would you agree with that statement?
No. I would say that we have done it for our interests.
What, the stop of communism?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man. Don't tell me you believe that shit. No.
Okay, so you think Vietnam was not about communism?
I think it had a bit to do with communism, but I don't think that was the main thing. I think the main thing...
Korean War?
Okay, fine. So let's say it is to stop communism, okay?
Okay.
All right, let's go with that. It was to stop communism, okay? Now, does that make it worse or better? Because that sounds worse in my eyes.
To stop communism?
Yes. I mean, was communism ever a real threat to America, other than Soviet Union? Because we're not going against Soviet Union. How is communism a threat to America today?
Antifa.
Antifa is a socialist movement, not a communist movement.
Why do they still carry the flags?
They carry the flags of socialist parties, not communist parties. Just because it's Marxist doesn't make it communist.
I would have you rewatch those videos because there are many people carrying Soviet flags in those groups.
Well,
I remember during the Milo rallies, someone said liberals get the bullet too. They wrote it in spray paint on a building at Berkeley. So I'm pretty sure that there are a bunch of anarcho-communists in that group. It's a red flag and a red and a black flag. So yeah, there's anarcho-communists.
Okay.
And
taking it back again. Overall, since we should be getting to final thoughts here, but I want to ask you this first. Do you think the crime is worse because it was an illegal immigrant? Or do you think it's the same crime?
I think that there is more crime because of illegal immigrants. More crime than there should be because they shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I get that. But is this particular crime, worse because he was an illegal immigrant? Does that make it more heart-wrenching, more terrible, more wrong?
I would be the worst person to ask because I find no difference in murder.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I think that this is something that could have been avoided, and more so than an American citizen, because when it comes to an American citizen, they are free to do what they please, and when they do commit murder, it's basically we couldn't have done anything until that action happens, and that's when it falls on the American citizen who they chose to kill to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the firearms come in. But when it comes to this particular situation, there should not have been an opportunity, and that's the problem. It all comes down to opportunity. This person, this individual from Mexico, should not have had the opportunity to kill an American citizen in what was it, Iowa? Shouldn't have had that opportunity because they shouldn't have been there. That's the core point. And if it comes down to getting rid of all illegal immigrants, and I'm not saying that would be a solution that I would try for. Mm-hmm. I'm saying that if it were to come down to all illegal immigrants or keeping illegal immigrants and allowing these things to continue, I would get rid of as and send home all of them. And if there's a better solution, such as some sort of path to citizenship, that is something that could be on the table, maybe, but I don't see how that's going to be okay, because there is a number of people who've been waiting patiently for their opportunity to be an American citizen, and they don't have the right to even wait in line when they're discovered as illegal. So I don't understand how that's going to work out, and I don't think it should, because you shouldn't reward people who violate this country's laws. And that's just what I think.
I can kind of agree with you on that, because we should be focusing more on people who are trying to get in here legally. We should give them the free pass before we give anybody else the free pass. I think this country can take in a lot more people than what we currently do. I think we're way too inclusive as it is at the moment. I think we're going to have an underpopulation problem here eventually.
You said inclusive? We're way too inclusive?
Yeah, we don't.
Do you mean exclusive?
I don't fucking know.
No, I just want to make sure, because you said you think that we can take more on.
I do think we can take more on. So let's
Okay,
just go.
so you mean
we are
exclusive.
too exclusive. Okay. How's that? Exclusive. So.
Right. Sorry. We need to be more inclusive. We need to include more people. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah. I think we need to let more people in than what we do. I think we should ease up our immigration policy. I don't think we should make certain things an automatic exclusion, like a drug felony or anything like that. I also think it should be a lot more streamlined of a process. It shouldn't take years. It should take days. And I think the fact that it takes years is what causes illegal immigrants. I think the fact that business owners are willing to turn a blind eye to immigration statuses is what causes illegal immigration. I think these two things, and you fix them in the right way, can end the illegal immigration. Sure, it's going to get more Mexicans here. It's going to get more undesirables, as I'm sure you all are thinking. But it's better to have them all here, have them all accounted for, and have them being contributing to society. Have them become American citizens. We have the space for it. Right now, half the places around here can't even find people to work for them. So why can't we let in a few thousand more? Go ahead. I know you want to counter it.
I do.
Okay.
We don't want to let in a few thousand more because they don't speak our language, and we'd have to train them. There's also a population that is already here, and if you were to offer them more money, they would be glad to work for you. That's unskilled labor that are American citizens. They want to keep the business low. They want to save money. These are huge businesses a lot of times, or even they could risk spending more money to offer competitive wages, okay? But they don't, so they get illegal people, and they don't have to pay them that much because they can't complain.
I agree with you on that 100%.
No, you don't, because you want them to come here.
I want them to come here legally, make those same high wages, take the illegal part out of the equation. That way they don't have to hide and take slave wages. That is what makes them
marketable. That is, you'd be taking away what makes them marketable.
Good, then we will have them be just normal American citizens.
They won't be hired.
Well, fine. Only the people then they won't want to come here as much then.
But they'll still be here because it's the land of opportunity. Like, why would they stay where they are if you're saying it's so terrible?
Well, if there's more fucking jobs where there are, hiring people for subpar wages, and they're willing to work for those subpar wages, awesome. But if they're going to come here and not get a job for a good wage, then they're not going to stay here, man.
The good wage is gone, okay? They are only offering shitty wages because that's how they save money. Don't you get it? They want people here who are illegal so they can save money.
I'll tell you right now, my company, the company I work for, wants like 200 more people by the end of the year, and they're not going to get it.
Of course not, because you have standards.
And why can't we add those to make the businesses do the standards? Again, this one will be a conversation for another day because we're going to get into pay wages and all that stuff and how they're not competitive right now.
I can prove my point with one question.
Prove your point.
Can an illegal immigrant pass your tests to work where you are?
Yeah, an illegal immigrant.
An illegal immigrant, can they pass those tests?
If they were legal, they could.
No, I said illegal. Can they pass those tests?
The only reason why they can't pass those tests is because they don't have the right documentation.
There you go.
Yes.
So that means
if they had the right documentation, they could get my job.
If they were legal.
Even if they don't speak English. We have tons of people I work with that don't speak English.
All they have to do is go through the normal process. And that's all the standard was before. They didn't even do that. So
I'm saying let's give more people this paperwork. Let's cut down the incentive for coming in illegally, and let's increase
and lower the standard.
Lower the standard.
And allow opportunity.
And again, streamlining the process I think is more important than lowering the standard. Like the things I would like to lower the standard are pretty minuscule. Like felony is not an instant no. That would be like the big thing when it comes to lowering the standard.
Do you realize lowering the standard increases the opportunity for people who are bad immigrants to come in?
Who cares? There's bad Americans.
And that's the problem, because you don't care about your people.
Man, sure, there's going to be a slight increase of murders between Americans. Do you care about
your people? Do you care about Americans?
I care about everybody.
No. I asked specifically, do you care about Americans? Do you
I
care about
care.
American lives being taken by immigrants?
I care about everybody's lives being taken by anybody.
That's gonna. If you don't answer specifically, I'm gonna have to assume it's a no. So, do you care about American lives?
I care about American lives. I care about Hispanic lives. I care about Mexican lives. I care about Asian lives.
Illegal immigrants. Do you care about American lives being taken wrongfully by illegal immigrants?
It's a terrible thing that happened to this woman.
You should be a politician.
I really should. This is a politician answer, but you're catching me in a trap here. Is what you're trying to do.
Yes, I do. I care about American lives more than I care about illegal immigrants avoiding punishment and avoiding the opportunity or avoiding going back to their country. That's what I care about more American lives than I care about illegal immigrants.
I care about everyone's life. I don't care about American lives more than I care about someone sitting in Asia. I care about my kids' lives more. I care about my life more. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's always going to be the case. People I know, I care about more. But
Americans in the country, Americans run the healthcare system.
But people I have never met
run the schools, in the government, provide welfare to all the people who are American citizens. All of those people are American citizens, and they're working together, and they're trying to make America great again. But
great again.
Are saying that
like America's not at like the greatest it's ever been right now. I mean, come on, come on.
It's not. You're suggesting it's not because you're saying I want more.
No, I am suggesting right now America's at its greatest. For the last 5 years, America's been at its greatest.
So you're saying
ever since the end of the 2008 to 2010 recession, America has been at its greatest.
Which is why it would be okay to lower the standards for immigration to allow criminal immigrants into the country. That's why it'd be okay. Right?
I'm saying there's no better time than right now, when our financial systems are so high right now, where we can take in the influx of citizens.
America is so healthy right now, financially, that we could take a couple of hits in lives, right? Yeah?
Man, you make it sound cold when that happens, but people are going to die one way or another. The statistics aren't even going to change if that's the case. They're not. Yeah, they're not going to change. There's already illegal immigrants killing people, so why the fuck would it change if we made all those illegal immigrants legal?
Or, no, specifically you said lowering the standard for crimes of illegal or of immigrants coming into the country. So, yeah, right. It doesn't really matter if it changes like 1% of more murders from people who were from a foreign country who had crimes in those country coming in, right?
Again, what about El Diablo, the hitman, who has reformed himself?
Right.
Because he had a son, and him and his son snuck across the border, but his son got taken by the ice. And it's coming soon from Universal Studios.
Yeah, it's a real heart-wrenching story about how a guy got denied at the border entry and his son was taken from him because he's a fucking hitman.
You can see it now, though. It's going to start off with him, like, laying in bed with a woman. And then all of a sudden, the mafia, like, breaks in, kills his wife, and says, you got, like, 10 days to pay us. And there's, like, wind everywhere. You know what? It's got to be directed by Ang Lee or whatever. Fucking, you know, the dude that did Mission Impossible 2. With all the slow motion shots and the shirts swimming around in the wind.
So, no, I'm sorry. Mission Impossible 2.
You've never seen Mission Impossible 2?
No, I don't think so.
Remember the first Hulk movie?
No, wait. Is that the one with the motorcycle thing where they crash?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, God.
Yep. All those slow motion shots and the wind moving around on her dress. She's being shot to death.
There was some scene where there's a dove. Like
Yep. It's legit. It's art, man. He's a terrible director. Terrible director. I can't remember his name for sure. It was like Aang something.
He could have improved, you know. I don't know.
All right, well, this is the end of our fucking show, guys. So, because we got the 2 topics instead of 3 because we suck at this time control thing. And
no, we got the 3 topics, didn't we?
No, 2.
No, we got Mollie, and then we got the mom or the families, angel families.
Yeah, but that's really one topic. I'm only gonna put it down as one video, man.
I don't care.
I know you don't.
Oh, Mollie and the Angels.
Damn, that's a hell of a tragic name of a band. We shouldn't be making jokes like this like 2 days after this shit happened. We are bad people.
I don't know. It didn't happen to me, so.
Yeah, I know, but still, man. It's pretty harsh. Alright. Peace out. And fuck you.